Hola, hola. Welcome to our.
You think Trump is actually going to make him Minister of Health, RFK?
I have no idea, man.
That'd be so funny.
Oh my God, these websites.
Welcome.
Expurgated, they're allowed to vote, they can get jobs, they don't have to say that they're a felon on a job application, etc. The other thing I wanted to do is to legalize marijuana. Marijuana is already legal in most states, but it's not federally legal. So it's still Schedule I federally, which means if you have a marijuana dispensary in your state, you have to pay federal taxes on your income. And it means that it creates a huge problem with the handling of cash. There's now an entire industry, a cottage industry that handles cash for the marijuana dispensaries because they're not allowed to.
Bro, Rogan. Republicans will shit on everybody for anything. Republicans will be the most aggressive, mean-spirited, cruel people in the world. Donald Trump literally made fun of a guy who had
The war hero?
no. What is that?
Construction, I think. No?
What? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Telling people. They will be the most mean-spirited people. He made fun of the guy with the, what is this called? Like a back, is it that's his hand up. He made fun of the, I don't want to call him retarded. I don't think I had a mental disability, did he? Or a speaking disability? What did he have?
Some disabled guy?
He made fun of a disabled guy on camera, right?
Yeah.
But then, it might have been cerebral palsy. But then you put RFK on camera and people are like, how dare you make fun of this man's voice? What is wrong with you? He can't control. They become the most progressive, woke, did you see the clip on Joe Rogan?
Which one?
Oh, fuck. Oh my God, kill me. Just go to YouTube and look for Joe Rogan makes fun of RFK voice. YouTube it, don't look at, Google it. Don't look at YouTube. Oh wait, no. You might have to look on YouTube or type Reddit after because there might be a Reddit thread about it. Yes. Kill me, bro. Oh, you guys can't hear this now, stay mad.
This is his words, not mine. But if he's right, Robert Kennedy explained this to me. This is his words, not mine. But if he's right, it's the craziest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life. I think he's right. In the placebo group, two people died.
I'm going to do his voice while you talk, if you don't mind.
Don't do that. In the placebo group,
Are you serious? What an absolute fucking joke. If that was a liberal doing anything remotely like that, oh wow, snowflakes can't take a joke. Give me a fucking break, dude. I hate these motherfuckers. God, I hate these motherfuckers so much. Don't do that. He shuts it down instantly.
Don't you think that that's like a conscious strategy, right? To go super hard against like Democrats and them like being just a little bit edgy, while at the same time being like incredibly like combative against Democrats, right?
No, it's a thing that people. The problem with humans is that we are very emotionally proximal. Like the closer things are to us, the more we can empathize with like the thing and then care about it. You know, that's why so many people will say shit like, yeah, gay people, trans people, all of that is like cringe and gross and disgusting. But then when they have like a gay family member, all of a sudden they'll recontextualize things and they'll either really hate them or they'll change their opinion on it. When people get personal experience with the thing, though, they start to have a much different feeling about it.
Yeah.
Which is just the human condition, but it's still annoying.
President, chronic disease. When my uncle was president, 6% of Americans had chronic disease. Today, 60% do. And, our kids are getting buried by it. I talk to young people all the time, and I hardly can meet one that doesn't have an autoimmune disease, doesn't have a neurological disease, reading disorders, learning disorders, ADD, ADHD, speech delay, language delay, tics, sleeping disorders, ASD. Autism has gone from 1 in 10,000 in my generation, 70-year-old men, to 1 in 34 kids in my kids' generation. 1 in every 22 boys. Food allergies suddenly appeared around 1989. You know, I had 11 brothers and sisters, about 70 first cousins, and none of them had a peanut allergy. Why do 5 of my 7 kids have food allergies? Something is poisoning them. Why do diabetes today? When I was a kid, a typical pediatrician would see 1 case of diabetes in his entire career, juvenile diabetes. Today, 1 out of every 3 kids who walks through his door has either pre-diabetic or
Wait, what did he just?
through his door, juvenile diabetes. Today, 1 out of every 3 kids who walks through his door.
1 out of every 3 kids? 1 out of 3? What does he work in fucking Diabetes R Us? What the fuck? Where does this doctor work at?
Has either pre-diabetic or diabetic. Something's wrong. We're spending more just on diabetes than our entire military budget. Okay, so, and nobody's saying, why is this happening? And we know why it's happening. It's high fructose corn syrup, and it's, you know, glyphosate and neonicotinoids and atrazine and all the other crap that is in our food. We're not feeding people, we're poisoning them. There's a study that I read this week that showed that girls who eat processed food are 1,400% more likely to engage in violence than girls who do not. Oh, you know, this is a mental health issue, the depression, the anxiety, all of this stuff. This is a mental health and violence, and processed food are more, it showed that girls who eat processed food are 1,400%.
Girls who eat processed food. Can somebody link me this study? Girls who eat processed food. Where do you find a study to research children who don't eat any processed food? I'm so curious what that cohort looks like. That has to be like the most unique fucking group of people in the fucking world.
Percent more likely to engage in violence than girls who do not. Oh, you know, this is a mental health issue, the depression, the anxiety, all of this stuff. The autoimmune diseases that our kids are now ubiquitous in that generation. Kids are not supposed to be sick like that. They're not supposed to be complaining of brain fog. They're not supposed to be on Adderall and albuterol inhalers and you know, insulin and all this other stuff. That is not what children are supposed to look like, and they don't look like that anywhere else in the world. Only here. We have the highest chronic disease rate on Earth. We're being mass poisoned by our food. During COVID, we had 16% of the COVID deaths in the United States of America. We only have 4.2% of the world's population. We had the worst record of any country on Earth. I don't know why people are getting awards for this, because whatever they did was wrong. But CDC says, well, the reason it's not our fault, it wasn't mismanagement of COVID, it's because we have the sickest people on Earth in this country. The fattest people on Earth, the sickest people on Earth are here. And they said the average person, this is what CDC says, the average person who died from COVID had 3.8 chronic diseases. So they had diabetes, they had obesity, they had asthma, and they had one other thing, right? No, that's what killed them. It was the chronic disease that took them to the top of the cliff and put them over the side, and you know.
Okay, so I've just looked up the per capita deaths of COVID worldwide, right? And the US isn't even close to being first, so it's just straight bullshit what he's
Well, Brian Tyler Cohen brought that up yesterday too. I would be careful with that. I didn't say this yesterday, but I would be careful with that reported number, because it could be that there are because there are some places that had like almost no COVID deaths, but they probably just had shitty healthcare and they weren't reporting them. This is why I remember looking this up during the ivermectin era, because some people were saying, look at this country that uses ivermectin on everybody. They have like no COVID deaths, but it was like countries like these countries like don't report anything, dog. Like you have no idea how many people are dying there. Yeah.
But he just said RFK, right? That the U.S. had the most.
Yeah, COVID deaths per capita.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't say the most, but he said we had 4% of the world's population, and we had like 16% of the.
Some bullshit.
One of the this is like my central complaint now with like dipshits like this. The thing that's frustrating is that like when it comes to being healthy, that's like the science on that is like settled and solved. There's no like mysteries. We need to exercise more, and we need to eat less, and probably have less like ultra processed foods. That's it. It's not fucking food dyes. It's not fucking chemtrails. It's not fucking whatever weird government poison vaccine. It's just you probably need to eat like more like whole foods, stuff that doesn't like digest super quickly and make you hungry immediately after, and then like exercise more. That's it. But then we have like retards like this guy who are like hogging so much of the conversation with this like conspiratorial bullshit. It is so fucking annoying. Whatever.
Well, it's just easy, right? It's easy to find a boogeyman like chemtrails or the
Yeah.
vaccine or something and put all blame on that instead of actually engaging with the issue. Because, yeah.
In and out. Wait, is this right? In and out. Why don't I have these? Wait, can you show me what I've got this connected to? I'm sorry, I'm wiggling this.
No, you're good.
Or actually, wait, I can just hold it. Never mind, I'm fine. I'm doing this. Can't even unplug it. Fuck it, I'll play straight. We'll see. $50 donut, very important.
Opinion on the EU. I love the EU.
Cucked. What a cucked opinion. Okay. $50 donation. Sorry for interrupting. I never know when to send super chats. Did Lycan make you the Cincinnati chili? I asked to make you Cincinnati chili. Goes on spaghetti and sprinkled with raw onions. Maybe he might have one time. I think I like most chilies. Some of RFK's shit is fine. No, you have to stop saying that. You have to stop saying that. You cannot give somebody a pass just because you happen to agree with some stuff they say, just because, or when other shit they say is unhinged and insane. You can't do that anymore. It's just not, you can't give these guys a pass on anything. I'm sorry, but none of what RFK says is okay. There are like end policy things that he talks about, like having kids like exercise more and run around or whatever, that's fine. But you can't do that. You keep it because you can't grant. It's about different standards again. Remember, right? Fauci said one thing wrong about masks, and that's enough to discredit every single thing that he says for the rest of his life. You can't have a guy like RFK who is insane on like 80% of what he says, and then on 20% you're like, oh well, actually, he's kind of okay. No, fuck that bullshit. Cucked. That is cooked behavior.
Even a broken clock is right twice a day, right?
True. That's why I use a 24-hour clock, so a broken clock can only be right once a day. Okay.
Do you have any shows today?
Nope. But I got a list of things I want to talk about. Wait, hello? No, why did this come unplugged? Don't do that. I don't like these digital, is it Toss Link? I don't know what the form factor is called. I don't know if the form factor is Toss Link or if it's SPDIF or whatever. I don't like it. I'm not impressed. Oh, good enough.
It's about the 85% probability for the Republicans to control the House right now.
Only 85. There's a reason why they're not going above 90 yet, Vadim, okay? Okay, good. Oh, fuck. I had ideas. Next time we'll do it, because I need all the lights from the same system, because I'm using a combo of like hue and nambling stuff. But it would be cute, because you can set up like scenes and shit in here. Like when you push a button, a scene happens. When you call an election, they should like flash. They should pulsate between red and blue, and then stop on whatever state gets called for it. That would be a good meme. That would be a good meme.
It would.
The connector is Toslink, SPDIF is the underlying format. Gotcha. Thanks, bud. Okay. Turn on this. Turn on this. Instead of focusing on the bad things, Trump says you can just pick out one quote and hammer on that. Maybe. We'll see. Okay. Let me see if I have all this done. Next time you plan on doing a big event again, just select everything else in your mind. I mean, theoretically, I can do anything now, right? I mean, we've got this whole last place set up. Okay. Don't switch. Oof. I need to read the manual. I don't know where what channels, what software channels in total mix the actual hardware channel out is. Ooh.
Do you think Trump will do Vivek or Vance for 2028? My bet is Vance.
Wait, do I think Trump what?
If they're gonna, is it gonna be Vivek or Vance for president? If it's not gonna be Trump.
What do you mean it's not going to be Trump? Not like next election?
Yeah.
Oh, 4 years is like, that's an infinite amount of time. Who knows? It could be anything.
Yeah, it could be anyone. Yeah, but right now I think they push for Vance for sure because I mean
he'll be the VPs, and if it's a good term, like you'd want to write off that, right? You got to have you need the incumbency key.
Yeah. But the thing is, like the biggest donator, we've talked about Peter Thiel, right? He's one of the biggest donators to the Republican Party. He's gonna push for Vance. That's his boy. 100%.
Peter will also probably have to see how Vance governs to see if he like actually does the things that he wants to do, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But he's got him in his pocket. Like he's solely responsible for the rise of Vance. So I think he's got him in his pocket.
I guess we'll find out, huh?
I still think that Trump is just going to extend term limits and he's going to run again.
He's so old, though. You really think he would?
Maybe Trump Jr. then or something. But I think he will run. He'll try to run again. Let's see how he looks after 4 years. But if he's still got it, if he's not on Biden level, I think he'll try.
Can you imagine if Vance were to like fucking call like the 25th Amendment on Trump and just get him like fucking kicked out of office immediately? Holy shit.
It'd be pretty funny.
That would be wacky and wild times. Okay. SPDIF out. I want to disable everything else. More sound settings. No sound here. On here. Wait. No. Yep. 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 Wait, why is that all unavailable? That's kind of scary. Did I fuck something? That'd be kind of funny if Biden steps down before inauguration, so we have a woman president. I wonder why this captured card is capturing something in a bad format. Do I care enough to troubleshoot this, or is this an off-stream thing? It's a weird, annoying thing where it captures this in a bad, like the aspect ratio is weird. I don't know why it's trying to capture in a weirder aspect ratio. And then also, it shows up in OBS, but when I come down to test it in Discord, it doesn't show up here at all. I don't know why. How do you guys think Trump's policy with China will be? Like, for example, Taiwan? No clue. Hello, hello. What is this? Hello. Hello. Where is it detecting audio from? Oh, because I still have this plugged in. I shouldn't have it plugged in. I just wrap all the cables. Okay. This is this, I think. Oh, Jesus. Freaking myself out. Okay. This one. Does anybody from your job know that you came out here to do this in particular? Like, does anybody recognize you or?
I don't know so far, but I didn't tell anyone. But they're all I doubt they watch it. They're like boomers and stuff.
You doubt they watch me? Fuck you.
The Fed got raised today by a quarter point.
The what?
The Fed, Federal Reserve, cut the...
Yeah, oh yeah, I saw that. They cut it, yeah. Just in time, getting ready for Trump's economy here.
Yep.
To start taking off. Oh boy. Do we have this one? This one. Based. Okay.
What do you do for fun? Play games, play chess.
What games do you play?
I mean StarCraft. I still play StarCraft quite a bit. I'm very weird. I like playing 2v2. It feels more engaging to me. But other than that, bit of Diablo, Dota.
Okay, I can sympathize. Okay, who knows can help me so I don't have to go and read the whole fucking manual. What is the name of the hardware input for the SPDIF input 1, the first set, I think, on the back of a UFX2, an Army UFX2. What is going to be the name of that so I don't have to go play audio on every fucking channel to figure out what it is? I need a hero in chat so I don't have to read this manual. Okay, fuck you guys. Fuck all of you guys. AES EBU? I don't think so. Is it? Like, okay, so what am I looking for? I would be looking for inputs 1, don't just copy paste. No, fuck you. Okay. Oh, this is gonna be annoying. Okay, right click, change, channel layout. Hardware inputs, everything. No, I need outputs. Right? Yes. Change to hardware outputs. Oh no, wait, I'm sorry, I'm so stupid. Fuck me, I'm fucking my brain up. Okay, we already have the output, I need the input. The output is indeed AES. It's my digital out. Do you think the digital in is called AES as well? This. Inputs. Could it really be that simple? Your peer show dropped? Oh, it's kind of boring. It's like 20 minutes of nothing, really. How do we get out of this? Break it, fix it, cycle it with our politics. My tell has been Dems trying to correct for Republican deficit spending and mismanaged leadership, and it isn't working. Yeah, I don't know. Just bring it up more. Like people need to just remember at least. At least people need to remember. Like the things that Democrats have to clean up is just so it's fucking insane. What's up, Econo Boy? We should chat on Discord so we can test my shit. Did he ask you about Kamala taking long to concede? No, but the fucking panel earlier, I think, brought it up.
What's up, Destiny?
Oh, hey, what's up? Can you hear me?
I can. You sound great.
Okay, technically, this isn't the Discord I wanted to chat with you on, but we can chat here for now. How you doing, buddy?
You know, I'm not quite as upset as I thought I would be if Trump won, but it's not going to be good.
Oh! Econo Boy. You're an Econo Boy.
I am.
Curious question, okay?
Yep.
You know how there are some things that we do policy-wise economically that are technically they're worse, but they feel better, so we do them? So like an example that I brought up earlier is that I'm pretty sure it's considered just like a staple of like finance or economics that like you can't cut wages to employees. It's like impossible. Like people's minds break. So if you've got 10 employees, it's even if it's like worse for the company, it's better to just fire one employee rather than like decrease everybody's pay by 10%, right? Are you familiar with this concept or?
Yeah, it's difficult to do that in capitalist companies. Yeah.
Do you think that now I know that the Federal Reserve is supposed to be apolitical, but do you think that there's a world where it would be more politically feasible to more aggressively target inflation rather than unemployment, since inflation is felt cumulatively and unemployment kind of like comes and goes? Like, here, go ahead, yeah. You understand my question, I think, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my understanding is that some central banks do not have a dual mandate, and they only have a mandate to control price levels. And so it's like, who gives a shit if employment is 10%? Like, as long as the price levels are low.
Yeah. I feel like there's a world where Americans would have been happier with like 10% unemployment and 3% like rate of change inflation, and then like now the year over year would be not as bad, and then when the jobs come back, no one knows about the unemployment anymore because people are employed. But now, even though the rate of inflation is down, people know about the inflation, you know?
Yeah, I mean, Obama in 2012, right? Like, he got elected in an environment where unemployment was like just below 8%, right? And so, but I think that in part because he could at least sell a message of like, well, hey, but the economy is recovering. So people's expectations were, hey, like, the economy is a lot better than it was, and it's probably gonna get better. That's probably an easier sell. I mean, clearly that is an easier message to sell than, hey, but unemployment's really low, and like, yeah, shit is more expensive, but your wages have gone up. Like, that's just, I don't know. Like, it seems like I saw a graph, I think I retweeted it, that literally and this is why I totally reject people who say this is because of Biden's policies,
yes,
or he was too populist, is like across the world, from left-wing governments to right-wing governments to center-left governments to center-right governments to coalition governments, like from parliamentary to presidential systems, incumbent governments, every single incumbent government in the developed world has lost re-election this year.
Yeah.
Every single one. Like, across the political spectrum, across cultures, like, and of course, like, that's because inflation was a global phenomenon. Like, every country dealt with some level of inflation. I think that the issue, especially when calling into question Biden's policies, is like, I don't actually, like, okay, let's just say he doesn't pass the ARP. And by the estimates that I'm familiar with, on a generous accounting, you could say about half of excess inflation and about half of job gains were because of the ARP. So let's just say that, like, we go into 2022, and instead of inflation being 9%, let's say
like
that
3%,
it's
and unemployment is like 8 or 9%.
Well, no, but like, I think it's, no, because I think we'd still have inflation. Like, inflation would still be like 5 or 6%. Like, it would be noticeable. And let's just say unemployment was 5.5% instead of 3.5, 4%, right? It's like, okay, is that an environment that's more electorally advantageous? Like, it's possible that it is, but at the end of the day, like, the rock and a hard place that I'm kind of stuck with is like, but the ARP was good. Like, it was a good thing to pass
economically, but like right now, I think the majority of conservatives think there's like an employment crisis in the United States, especially because of illegals, and there has been for years. So it's like, what the fuck is the point of having low unemployment?
I mean, I think, yeah, no, that's true. I mean, I think that if you're gonna, like, in hindsight, go back and restructure the ARP, like, maybe you advance the passing of the chips in the IRA and infrastructure bills, and then you don't do direct checks with the ARP. Sure.
But then you're literally, it's just weird because you're literally like saying, I need to make my economy worse because I know that people will prefer this worse economy because of the things that are bad about it. And that's just crazy to me.
Well, yeah, but I mean, look at our tax code. Like, every single, like, deduction is just an attempt of a politician to curry favor with a interest group, right? Like, our tax code is completely ridiculous, and that is entirely just because, hey, like, we're going to give veterans a special deduction because we think that that's good politically. but just having a shitload of deductions in your tax code isn't like smart economic policy, right? So there's always going to be a lot of good economic policy that's not popular and a lot of bad economic. I mean, Trump won this election running on tariffs and mass deportations. Like, that's terrible for the
lower
economy.
Inflation. Yeah.
Yeah. Like this, So, and I don't know, it's just a big unknown because Trump, like if he comes into office and does what if Trump, and it's always an if, like we don't know if Trump's going to do any of these things. Like if Trump comes into office and, like actually like say 2026 rolls around and we're like 3-4 million people into the mass deportation program under Attorney General Stephen Miller, and tariffs have raised to their highest level since the 1920s, and the economy's literally like on the brink of fucking complete crisis. I mean, that's an environment where people will vote out Republicans, but it's still like such a bad transition, right?
Yeah,
it's a really tough 2 years. But anyway, yeah. Oh, yeah. People are saying. I was talking to Dylan. I was telling Dylan Burns. I was like, "You've got to leave Ukraine."
Time to come home.
It would be.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was saying no. He's going to stay in Ukraine. And I was like, that just seems like a bad decision. I don't know about all that, but well, his choice, I guess.
I mean, he's there for a reason. It's not just to chill and party, right?
No, of course. Like it's always like a call on like the value of the work he's doing versus I guess you could say the value of future work he could be doing. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, what's your realistic expectation for Trump's second term?
I mean, I mean, like, I really have absolutely no idea, right? Like, before I thought that, I mean, like I said, like, going into 2016, or, like, realistically, nobody thought it would have turned out as bad as it did. Holy fuck. So then, like, coming into here, I'm thinking also, like, I mean, could it really be as bad as people say? But, I mean, nobody predicted, like, the clusterfuck that would have been 2017 to 2021. So, and now he's got, like, sycophants and loyalists. And now, also, remember, Trump had the mandate of the people before, but he didn't really have like the mandate of the party, because like the establishment Republicans were still kind of like back and forth with him, and same thing with the media, right? Remember all those articles that people wrote about I'd never vote for Trump, and the people like is it Paul Ryan, like all these people like weren't really willing to play ball. But now like Trump still has the people. Now he has like the party. Now the party has switched as well. So yeah, fuck, who knows? I'm waiting for these, like, we're going to spend a lot of time, especially now that I'm more familiar with how government works, like, going over these cabinet picks is going to be probably a big deal. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it'll be a big what if, like, what actually ends up happening with his cabinet. Because, like, if he, these things will get announced at some point, like, pre-inauguration, we're going to know probably, like, who he's going to pick for Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense, and, like, if he comes out and says, oh, Tulsi Gabbard's my pick for DOD, it's like, okay, it's over. Like, this is going to be so much worse than people would have thought. But if he comes out and says, like, oh, some retired general from 8 years ago is going to be my, it's like, okay, like, he seems like he might be pivoting towards not being quite as completely deranged as we thought maybe was possible. But that's a big if, obviously. I mean, because you're right. Like, Trump has consolidated, basically. I mean, realistically speaking, I mean, like, Susan Collins, she's up for potential re-election in 26. Lisa Murkowski's got ranked choice voting in Alaska that could save her, so I'm not too worried about her. But, like, Susan Collins is up in 26. Like, there's no way she absolutely would just get primaried or, like, destroyed in the general election if she acquiesces too much to Trump. So she's in a rock and a hard place. But she's, like, the only one I can think of who, in the Senate at least, would really question Donald Trump's nominees. It's nice to have the House at such a thin margin, because you'd have to, like, okay, like the 5 or 10 most moderate Republicans have to agree with the 5 or 10 most right-wing Republicans. So I don't think we'll see like incredible defundings of like Medicare and Social Security and things like that, like big welfare state cuts.
Yeah.
But all the cabinet appointees, like, like that's a big potential problem with immunity and, Trump feeling very emboldened, obviously. And then in 2028, like, there's no hope of any sort of moderate Republican in 2028. It's going to be like Don Jr. or like J.D. Vance or something.
Yeah,
to,
I have
to
no
replace
idea what
Trump.
2028 is going to look like.
Yeah, I mean, I just, seeing how popular he was within the party after 2016, like I'd imagine he only gets more popular. I mean, it's possible that tariffs and mass deportation are so bad, like actually so catastrophically bad that his approval rating starts to, like, even Republicans start to be like, this isn't working out. But
Yeah.
I don't know, like what could Trump do? Like, I'm just trying to think, like, would that even do it? Like, if inflation is 10% and unemployment is also 10% by 2026, is even that enough to get Republicans to realize how bad this guy is? Like,
Who
I don't know.
knows? Yeah, it's pretty dumb. It's pretty wild. But the scary thing is that, like, they can always just blame it on everybody else. Like, even if they do things that start fucking up society, they'll just, like, say somehow it was, like, the fault of the last admin. That's the issue. The lack of accountability is, like, truly terrifying, I think.
Like electoral accountability.
Yes, like, if they
saying?
can do anything and they have no accountability for it.
Yeah, it's tough. I do hope that Democrats start playing a lot hard power politics. Like, all these Democratic states that don't gerrymander, that needs to stop. We need to just start gerrymandering like crazy. Like, it seems ridiculous that we have literally Democratic states that are like, no, we don't gerrymander because we think it's wrong. And then Republicans are like, why, yes, we did get 2/3 of seats and only 48% of the vote. What's the problem with that? Like, we can't. They're going to win the House because fucking, California is like nonpartisanly gerrymandered. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Should just gerrymander like crazy. In general, what do you think about? I'm curious what your opinion is. I've been getting some heat for this, but I feel strongly about it. In general, like, directionally, where do you think the party should go on messaging and policy? Some people will say, well, the failure of Kamala to appeal to your Trump supporters, your moderates, your conservatives, because she was viewed as so progressive, especially because of her Democratic primary run, is a sign that, we need to moderate away from these, like, more populist left-wing economic messages. But my sense of things is the opposite. When you see, like, when 13 million Biden voters just decide they're indifferent on voting
Well,
and
hold
not
on.
to
That
vote.
number is fake news. That got pushed around a lot. I don't know what the final thing is going to be.
I mean, that's my estimate.
No.
Because if you look at the percentage, you can look at the percentage of this electorate on the exit polls. That is, you can say, like, the percentage of this electorate that voted for Biden in 2020 is, 43%. It's like, how many people voted? Oh, well, we ended up having 150 million votes or something like that. It's like, okay, well, that's this many voters, and you just subtract the two. It's like 81 million minus that number. The difference is how many, and it's like over 10 million people.
Voted for the Democrats in the last election?
81.5 million.
81.5?
Yeah. And this electorate, by the CNN exit poll, is shaping up to be, I mean, I can look it up in like
I think it's shaping up to be like, isn't it like 4 or 5 million less for the Democrats? It was 15 million, but, like, they've only counted like half of California. They haven't counted all of Oregon, Washington.
Yeah, but it's not just a straight difference between, like, Kamala and Biden's popular vote, right? Because some of those Biden voters voted for Trump, and a lot of people who voted for Kamala didn't vote the first time around. And so,
Well, sure, but how the fuck are we making that? Sure. I mean, that could be the same on
just
Trump's side
exit
as well,
polls.
right?
Yeah, exit poll. I mean, but exit polls are really good polling in general. So I really do trust the exit polls. But yeah, like, Trump had a way higher retention. I did the math myself. Like, if you do, like, okay, of Trump's voters in 2020, what percent of them come around again and vote for Trump? That number is about 84%. It's about 77% for Kamala. Like, if she maintains the base as Trump did, she wins this election almost certainly. It would still be close, but she wins, right?
Well, sure,
And so,
but, like, hold on. This is one of the things I hate about the Obama shit, is that it spiked so much of the voter interest. Like, is that turnout bad for Kamala, or less than what we would hope it would be, considering that wasn't the last election literally the most popular, most voted on election in the history of the entirety of the United States? Like, so
yeah,
is it fair to say, like, God, she only turned out 80% of the votes? Yeah, the last one was literally the most famous election in the history of the U.S., though, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, the guy who got the second most votes in presidential history was Trump, though.
Sure.
Like, he still turned out a lot of people, and his maintenance of that base was a lot higher. And so that's the question. Like, okay, like, I think in my view, the way that Trump keeps his base is like just cult of personality, very consistent messaging, like those two things, basically, right?
Yeah, I think
and
the media
when
atmosphere and everything helps him. Yeah, the messaging and all that is like rock solid for sure.
there's a confluence of factors, but like those are the two biggest things. Now, the question for the Democrats, and like this is the debate in Democratic circles, like why is it the case that so many Biden voters come out? So like the apolitical theory is, and this doesn't make any sense to me. Like some people will say, oh well, it was so much more convenient to vote in 2020 because of all the mail-in ballots and everything. And it's like, is that really it? Like, I think it's like people just hated Trump and it was COVID and it was just like such a politically charged time.
It was COVID and people did hate Trump. I personally like the mail-out ballot shit because like for a lot of people, it sounds stupid.
Yeah.
But like just not even having to like put in the because I would have done I would have done a mail-in ballot in Florida where I live, but by the time I checked, I was already past the date. And I was like, oh well, fuck me, I guess. So I had to go vote early in person. But like that's just the thing where it's just like, especially for younger people, because we're not like in the habit of doing it. Like if it was just set up, it's like, oh shit, I got a ballot, I got to vote, easy. This is nice. So now I don't know at the end of the day how much people or not, but yeah.
Yeah, voting. I mean, voting should be as convenient as possible. Of course that's true. But I'm just saying, like, I don't think 13 million Biden voters are just like, well, I'll vote. I mean, there's going to be some margin that are like, I'll vote if I have a mail-in ballots into my house, but I won't like sit in a line or I won't request a mail-in ballot. Like I'm sure there's a number of people that is the case, but and my thought is like, okay, the Democrat, I saw a thread, I may have bookmarked it or like retweeted it or something. It was from Andy Kim. Andy Kim recently wins this Senate election in New Jersey. He outperforms Kamala in New Jersey. And it was interesting. He's a more centrist member of the Democratic Party. I think he's a very good guy. And he said something like, I won a Trump district. And so I was, one of my things was I tried to talk to all these Trump supporters who voted for me. Like, why'd you vote for me? But you also voted for Trump. Like, obviously I'm a Democrat and he's, Donald Trump, right? And he said that the sense that he got in all these meetings was that the split ticket, and we see a lot of split ticket voters in this election, Michigan, Wisconsin, Arizona, where like people are voting for Democratic senators, but they're voting for Trump overall. And he says amongst the split ticket Trump Democrat voters, he said that the sense that he got was that they viewed Trump, they're fundamentally very anti-establishment bias. Like they just don't like whatever the status quo or the establishment is. And if you are like establishment coded or like status quo coded, that's just something that just really turns them off. And he says that he himself didn't receive that for like all of these split ticket Trump Democrat supporters. Like he, for whatever reason, was able to not really be tainted by like, oh, he feels establishment.
Sure.
And so I don't know if it's necessarily like a set of progressive policies. I'll just say that progressives will tend to seem that way, right? Just because they tend to advocate for big policies that are anti-status quo.
Yeah. One of the things that I was saying earlier is obviously I have my own dog in the race, so maybe I come up as biased, but I think that the DNC needs to start promoting more Democrat supporting influencers, and they need to wholly and completely cut off anybody that is not like willing to support the party. Like there should be no working with people that are not supporting your fucking presidential candidate. That's wild. I think every step that the DNC has made in that direction towards a lot of these online type figures, the socialists or the super wacky progressives, I think is a huge waste of time and money. I think that the conservative messaging through all of their media is so 100% top down on point. I'm not saying that like all the progressives and the tankies need to like go away and be banned, but I don't think that the DNC should have any incentive whatsoever anymore to work with them. It's really disappointing that they do. There are so many better voices they could choose, I think.
I guess so. I guess like the thing that I don't really like, okay, like Republican politicians, like I don't know what money actually is being transferred or like what influence is being peddled. Like, okay, like what are Republicans doing to make people like Tim Pool popular? Like, I don't know if is that really
Tim
like
Pool literally got an interview with Donald Trump.
No, but that was okay. So you're saying a lot of this, but Tim Pool doesn't just sprout out of the ground this year. Like these people have been popular for years and years now.
Sure, but they're
Right.
also like part of the reason why I'm guessing they are is also, why the RNC and everybody's going to work on them is because they carry the talking points 100%. Like there is a top-down 100% coalesced like messaging apparatus for every single, like I joke about this, right? Like they all defend Andrew Tate, they all think the vaccines were fake, they all think COVID was whatever, the lockdowns were evil, like they all have the exact same messaging. And then meanwhile, like on the other side, like what were some of the largest DNC events with people, like AOC playing games with like, and Bernie Sanders showing up on like Twitch streams, which is a platform that didn't support Biden as the candidate. Like that's insane. Like why would you ever waste your time and your talent? Like they should be as far away from these platforms as possible. They should be going to like your Pod Save America guys more, or your Brian Tyler Cohen people more, or anybody else in like the media podcast sphere that could be even remotely supported. But like people that won't even support you as a candidate, it should just never ever be that case. That's a waste of time, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I would agree in large part. Now, I'm not sure if you're saying that they should totally disengage from that media space. Like, okay, like when Ro Khanna does an interview on like Brianna Joy Gray's show.
Yeah, that should never
and
happen.
It's an
or if they are doing
Really?
it, it's to fight. It's combative. You're never going on. Yeah, like
Right.
Brianna should have zero access to any Democratic candidates. Absolutely.
Yeah, well, I used Ro Khanna as an example because he's extremely willing to do these combative interviews. Like when he'll take all these tough questions from like Brianna Joy Gray is like like the interview that she had with him was like, well, I don't know if all these rapes in Israel are a real thing. And Ro Khanna's like, yeah, I mean, they are a real thing. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. And he's more willing to do those kind of adversarial interviews. But I mean, I don't know. It's one of the reasons why people have been like, no, this is crazy kind of, but it's like what, of the candidates who might materialize in 28, it's like, well, if I think a progressive is most likely to be like the person to get that anti-establishment code and like not turn off like so many people and actually inspire Biden voters and like the Democratic coalition to come out and vote, but also not be so progressive and left-wing that like it does turn off some portion of people.
Well, no, hold on. Wait. I want to be super ultra clear about this. It's not about being progressive and left-wing to turn people off. It's about these people explicitly not supporting Joe Biden. This has nothing to. It's not that they're too left or too progressive. They will not support the Democratic candidate.
No. I'm not talking about them. Yeah, I'm not saying. Yeah, because I'm not saying Brianna Joy Gray should have no involvement in any presidential campaign ever. Like Bernie, one of Bernie's biggest L's is Brianna Joy Gray. Like that's one of his biggest L's. So I'm just saying, like amongst like elected progressives, like who would who's rising to the top there? Because I would just hate it if the Democrats' lesson from this election was like, oh yeah, Gavin Newsom's the guy we should nominate. Like that's like so not the right answer. Like that's so wrong if you ask me, right? If I feel like the country at large is just in such a anti-establishment mood that you just can't put a guy like Newsom or Buttigieg or fucking people are saying Shapiro, like, no, like I don't know if these kind of people are going to be, in 2008 in a time of crisis, and I think in 2004 we will be in a similar time, or 2024. In 2008 in a time of crisis, we didn't nominate like liberal, moderate, Hillary Clinton. We nominated, black guy from Illinois who nobody had heard of named Barack Hussein Obama, who ran on a relatively progressive platform. He wins by a landslide. Like, I just think these things, there's a moment for these kind of populist left messages.
I mean, like, what else was going on too, though, right? Like, it
was a time of crisis.
Yeah. So, like, it could have been, Hillary theoretically could have won as well, like, just as easily in a landslide as well, right? And you had the Iraq War and everything, which I think was unpopular by then, too. Yeah. So, I mean, like...
But it's always a question of I cannot imagine Hillary receiving the type of, generational, inspirational sort of push that Barack Obama received. And so I think the question is like, would she have received as big of a landslide as Barack Obama? Like the answer is almost certainly not. And I think that it's all, for me in 28, it's like, what is the candidate who is most likely to be that person who can run up the landslide in 2024? Because again, if Trump does what he says he's going to do, by 2024, we're in like the worst recession since the Great Depression, and unemployment is 10%, but it's also stagflation because of the tariffs. Like, things are going to be really bad in 2024. And so no matter who the Democrats nominate, they probably get a W, but it does matter who. Like, the difference between, a majority in both chambers or like a filibuster-proof majority and 300 seats in the House, that's a big difference in what you can actually accomplish during that time, right?
Yeah, true.
So, like if you have an environment where you have 56 Democratic senators and 300 members of the House, like that's an environment where like you can make Puerto Rico and DC states, and you could do Supreme Court reform, and you could do a public option, and like you could raise the minimum wage, right? But if it's like, oh no, like we have to listen to like the one or two most conservative members of the Senate that are Democrats, like, oh fuck, this is a rough one. So
yeah.
But anyway, but it sounds like you don't have much of a sense of, I guess, like where messaging should go. I guess you said that the media, liberals and centrists should do more homegrown content, I guess.
We need a more powerful alt media sphere, I think, is important, because I think that
Right.
the left alt media sphere is just dominated by people that fucking hate the Democratic Party, and I don't think that's healthy for the Democratic Party.
I mean, like, what do you think? I mean, how big of a deal do you think that is?
I don't know. It's hard to say. That's just one fix, one suggestion that I would give, though. But I mean, maybe at the end of the day, maybe that shit doesn't actually matter, and it's all vibes based on the economy and all that bullshit. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess I really just don't know how big of an issue that is. Like, okay, like if like is your average Trump supporter really like, are they watching Tim Pool or like people like that? Right? Or is this just like
when you
10 million?
like that, you're including Joe Rogan too, right?
Yeah, I guess some people do really penetrate into the mainstream, but I feel like a lot of these people trade fanatical viewership. Like, there's probably like 10 million people who are like subscribed to all, 15 of these like bigger alternative media conservatives. And then there's maybe like another 10 million who pick out one or two, and then there's maybe another 10 million who maybe every now and then they catch a clip or so, you know what I mean? Like, and maybe that is a big, I don't know, I guess maybe that does like, make a huge difference in your electoral outcomes, but
yeah, because like how many, I guess like compare Joe Rogan's viewership or audience to CNN or Fox News or whatever, like what's the difference? And then think about how concentrated that is among certain demographics, right? So like we didn't do as well with young people, I don't think, as we expected. This might be one of the first right-leaning, and like my guess is the average age of a Joe Rogan viewer is like 40 years younger, maybe 50 years younger than the average age of a CNN. So maybe those are like a really concentrated demographic that's just all basically held hostage by that podcast circuit. Maybe, who knows?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sounds like this is why we need to accelerate the DGG media company or whatever you were talking about. I mean, other than, because I mean, things like okay, like Ben Shapiro's Daily Wire does seem to have been like pretty successful. I mean,
yeah.
Obviously, I don't. I'm just, and that's the kind of the big question for me is like, what does it actually look like to start like getting people to watch this type of liberal, left-leaning, like pro-democratic content? And I guess maybe the people do exist, like your David Pakmans and your Brian Tyler Cohen type people, but and I guess these guys don't really compete with in terms of viewership. I mean, they're big channels, but you're right, they don't really compete with viewership with people like Joe Rogan or Tim Pool or people like that.
Yeah. Like all the top people are pointing out, like the top 10 and probably even more, the top 10 podcasts were all anti-Biden. Or streamers were all anti-Biden. Like at some point, this has got to have some kind of impact. I would imagine, but
I guess so. I guess it just depends on how left-leaning people react. Like I remember, like when Trump won, my understanding of like when Trump won, it was Bernie, but it was also a reaction to Trump winning that like caused organizations like the DSA to become so popular. And what
have they done?
No, I understand, but I'm saying like that could just happen again, where like people they're sort of reactionarily going to these like very activist bases of people. And that happens to be like people like DSA or something like that captures a lot of this. And obviously it does depend on the chapter, to be fair. What is it, like DSA North Star? It's like super reformist, super electoralist, but then you've got like the DSA International that's like pro Venezuela and fucking
Yeah, so
like
you end up with
completely
this issue
insane.
where like every single funnel for radical extremist right wingers, no matter where the fuck you're going, at the end of the day, you're supporting Trump 100%, and that's a problem.
Yeah, that's true. I guess. Well, yeah. I mean, but part of the reason though is because Trump comes into 2016 winning the election, sure, but he certainly doesn't have this like uniform ecosystem. Like he creates it because he wins and establishes that cult of person. But that's after he wins, though.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like this doesn't.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I just don't know. I don't know how coherently you can do something like that when, you don't have like a central figure in your party. Like there's no leader of the Democratic Party right now, right? There's no president to look towards.
Yeah, we have an
I don't.
issue with, like, arguably decentralization in Big Tent is like a strength, but right now I think it hurts quite a bit because like whatever Trump says goes, and you're just like ready to go, boom, boom, boom. But with the Democratic Party, yeah, it's a lot harder. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. But anyway, yeah, that's my thought. Well, I hope you tested your stuff and things are working, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, anything else you wanted to talk about?
Are you friends with the AE Studios account on Discord?
AE Studios account? I don't think so.
Is your name just Econo Boy? Hold on.
Yeah.
Econo Boy. Why do you spell boy like that? Are you a femboy?
I don't think I'd be considered a femboy. But I don't know why. I guess I don't know why. I'm not sure. My mom thought that she said, "Oh, BOI, that's like a old butch lesbian thing." And I was like, "Okay. I mean, Jesus, I don't know what's going. I just put an eye on the end. I'm not overthinking this." But
what am I doing?
anyway.
Oh, okay, wait. I'm adding you another account. Technically, I needed to test something different, so fuck you. Okay, add friend.
All right.
He can hear you if you talk to, by the way.
Oh, hi, Conan Boy.
Hello, person in the studio.
Okay, now you're done talking. I'm going to call you on the other account. Good luck.